All right, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Today is Thursday, May 12th, 2022. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
President Todd,
Here.
Vice President Gibson,
Here.
Commissioner Ansier,
Here.
Commissioner Janner,
Here.
Commissioner McBroom,
Here.
Commissioner Ruffing,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson, absent.
Okay, are there any matters from the public?
We do not have any matters from the public for non-agenda items.
Non-agenda items, okay. You'll let me know when we get to the agenda item. All right, updates and reports. We'll start with the Riverwalk Commission.
All right. Thank you, President Todd. The Riverwalk Commission met yesterday, Wednesday, May 11th. We discussed the repairs to Moser Tower, which should be done shortly. And the public's asked to save the date for the July 29th walk-on in memory of Chuck Papanos. So July 29th in the evening. Our next meeting is going to be June 8th at 7:30 a.m. at the lunchroom in the Municipal Center.
All right, thank you. Next, was there finance? Yeah.
So Finance Committee met on April 15th. The district's money manager, Tom Sawyer, presented the first quarter investment performance results. The year-to-date investment unrealized loss was $285,000 with a net return of negative 3.3%, which came in lower than the benchmark of a negative 2.5%. The net return since inception of the portfolio, this would be from June 2011 through March 2022, equaled 0.8%, which is equal to the benchmark. So large discussion at our meeting about the bond market and what's happened with interest rates. Some things to realize about the bond market. Interest rates go up, bond prices go down. So the unrealized loss in the base is based on the increase in interest rates. The only investments that are owned in the portfolio are bonds, and those bonds are all held to the maturity. So important to realize that Park District isn't losing principal, but on the secondary market, those bonds are worth less right now due to interest rates. Bonds will mature at face value, par value, with no realized loss. The portfolio is constructed to provide long-term positive investment results. Current higher interest rate environment provides better yield on the reinvestment of the bond maturities and other cash flows. Next, staff discussed a process to address the challenge of purchasing vehicles and equipment based on the current supply chain issues. Vehicles and equipment ordered now for 2022 budget items will not be delivered until 2023. Likewise, we need to order vehicles and equipment now to get in line for items included in the 2023 capital plan and budget. As we were aware at the last board meeting, this process was outlined for the board. And it's on the agenda for tonight at the Finance Committee. We all agreed that there is not another way that we would support that process. Staff presented an overview of the district's pension account with the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. December 31st, 2021, the district was 100.1% funded with a rate of 8.81%. The 2022 rate decreased to 7.27%, and the 2023 preliminary rate is estimated to decrease further to 6.14%. The next Finance Committee meeting will be held on May 20th at 9:30 at the Central Maintenance Facility in the multipurpose room. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Legislative.
Thank you. So we didn't have a legislative committee meeting since the last update, but on April 19th, Executive Director Wilson, Director Omenson, and I met with State Representative Kifowit and State Senator Holmes to discuss just various ways that we can continue partnering. It was a wonderful discussion. They both were really excited about just all the great things we do for the community. And, we talked through how, green initiatives would be a great thing, and grants and all that good stuff. So it went really, really great.
That's great. Thank you. All right, next is Parks and Rec.
Okay, Parks and Rec Committee met yesterday evening at 5 o'clock. We got updates on the Roy Ori Community Garden Plot Master Plan update. There was really good feedback from the community gardeners about how to make some improvements to the garden. We got kind of a preliminary idea of some ideas from the folks putting that together. And there's going to be on May 18th at 6 o'clock a presentation on those possible changes at the garden plot. So people can give more feedback, and then online there's also an ability to give feedback after that as well. So it's pretty exciting, some pretty neat stuff there. Other than that, we just got some information about Turning Point. It's a Turning Point for Autism, I believe is what it's called. They are developing their outdoor space that's on their property, but they're just looking for just kind of a letter of support from the park district, which we could support for their use in making like a sensory garden and sensory play and appropriate play for those children, and possibly maybe open to the public at some point. But we just kind of learned a little bit about that coming forward in the future. And then we got updates from all the different divisions. Golf's doing great with this nice weather. And some more information will be coming out about like a tulip bulb pickup that the park district is going to be recycling our tulip bulbs that we aren't using, so the community can have them and use them in their own gardens, which is nice. Got updates on some good news with employment, and picking up the programs that have been using for incentives for people to make referrals for employment has shown some positive gains with that. And then marketing discussed some DEI policy revisions that'll be coming forth, which is also really great. So that was it.
Thank you very much. I don't have a report, Executive Director report.
Thank you. I've got a few things this evening. There's no better time than now to register your kids for summer camp at the Naperville Park District. Our popular day camps meet at Frontier Sports Complex or Seeger Park, and we also offer a variety of themed sports, arts, and nature camps. You can register for 1 week at a time to allow flexibility in your summer schedule, or register for the entire summer if you wish. Details are in the summer 2022 program guide, available now at napervilleparks.org/program guides. Centennial Beach memberships for the 2022 swimming season are on sale now at special preseason rates through May 30th, which is Memorial Day. Memberships are available for residents and non-residents, and for youth, adults, seniors, or families. A Plus Friends option can be added to a membership until May 30th, allowing the member to bring up to 2 guests. Learn more and purchase your pass today at centennialbeach.org/memberships. The Park District is still in need of additional summer staff for Centennial Beach, the golf courses, parks, and recreation programs. Applicants now have the incentive of receiving a $100 signing bonus with their first paycheck if they apply by May 15th. Positions eligible for the bonus include those within our golf, trades, custodial parks, and day camps, as well as for lifeguards and tennis instructors. Learn more and apply at napervilleparks.org/employment. Additionally, if you refer an applicant who applies for a position by May 15th and is hired, you will receive a $100 Naperville Park District gift card. The Park District plans to create a site master plan for the Ron Ori Community Garden Plots and is soliciting public input. The Park District will host our second public meeting on Wednesday, May 18th, starting at 6 p.m. at the Garden Plots. For more information, please visit napervilleparks.org/garden plots. Join the Naperville Park District and the branch/Naperville Moms for the annual Frontier Kite Fly Festival on Sunday, June 5th from 10 to 4 p.m. Enjoy big, beautiful kites, activities, and entertainment and more at this much anticipated event that's free and fun for the whole family. For details, visit napervilleparks.org/kitefly. I've got 2 more items. Summer events. The Park District has a wide variety of amazing events planned for the summer. To see everything that's planned, check out our summer 2022 program guide at napervilleparks.org/program guides, and start marking your calendar and getting ready for the best summer yet. And it's nice to see the weather's finally changed and summer is almost here. And finally, for the past several weeks, the Park District has been working with a third-party company to administer a statistically valid community interest and opinion survey with participation from randomly selected community members. Now that the process is nearly complete, we will be making the same survey questions available via our website at napervilleparks.org to anyone in the community who would like to provide feedback to us. The survey will be available beginning the week of May 16th, and once it's posted, we will send out additional communication on that. And it will be opened through May 31st. All feedback received through our survey process will be reviewed and considered later this summer and fall as staff and the board begin the next 3-year strategic planning process. Thank you to all the residents in advance for your input.
Thank you, Executive Director Wilson. Next is the treasurer's report.
All right. Move to approve the March 2022 Treasurers Report.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice President Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffing,
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
and President Todd,
Yes.
Bridget.
and Commissioner Janner.
Yes.
All right, we got everybody. All right, next is the consent agenda. Please read the items on the consent agenda.
Item 5.1, approve April 2022 disbursements in the amount of $1,157,456.52. 5.2, approve April 2022 disbursements made through the Bank of America Purchasing Card Program in the amount of $271,292.04. 5.3, approve April 2022 FinTech and disbursements in the amount of $2,587.80. 5.4, approve April 2022 custom refunds in the amount of $1,448.57. 5.5, approve April 28, 2022 regular meeting minutes. 5.6, approve April 28, 2022 executive session closed meeting minutes. 5.7, approve change order number 1 for the Frontier Sports Complex East Playground renovation project. 5.8, approve change order number 1 for the Kings Hill Park Playground renovation project. 5.9, authorize the executive director to issue a purchase order to Little Tykes Commercial in the amount of $79,985 for play equipment for the Heritage Park Place Playground Development Program procured through the district's membership in the Sourcewell Purchasing Network. 5.10, authorize the executive director to issue a purchase order to Cunningham Recreation in the amount of $158,945.60 for port-in-place rubber play surfacing for the playground associated with the Neighbor Commons Park Development Project procured through the district's membership in the Omnia Purchasing Network. 5.11, award the contract for the Nike Sports Complex Ball Field Improvements Project to Proline Fence Company in the amount of $320,693. 5.12, award the contract for the Nike Sports Complex Irrigation System Installation Project to TCI Companies, Inc. in the amount of $56,782. 5.13, award a professional services contract to Martin Design Partnership Limited in the amount of $148,000 for renovations at Springbrook and Naperville golf courses. 5.14, authorize the executive director to order 6 vehicles through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative in fulfillment of the 2022 Fleet Capital Replacement Plan, all as set forth in the board memo dated April 22, 2022. 5.15, authorize the executive director to order vehicles and equipment in fulfillment of the 2023 Fleet Capital Replacement Plan, all as set forth in the board memo dated April 22, 2022, and further directing the Director of Finance to prepare a budget amendment and schedule the requisite public hearing prior to year end if necessary to accomplish this procurement. And 5.16, approve ordinance 1016 declaring certain park district property as surplus and authorizing sale or disposal.
Thank you. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? No? Okay, the motion to accept.
Move to accept consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.16.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Vice President Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier,
Yes.
Commissioner Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffing,
Yes.
President Todd.
Yes. And a motion to approve.
Move to approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.16.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we have no unfinished business. The next thing we have is the naming of the Fort Hill Fitness Center. Why don't you make the motion first.
Move to approve Resolution 2208, naming the Fort Hill Fitness Center Ray McGurry Fitness Center.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments people want to make? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, next item is the amendment to number 1 to the Naperville Salute Agreement.
Move to approve Amendment 1 to the Naperville Salute Agreement.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Any? Is there a speaker? Okay. Thank you.
This is from Kelly Hickey. Sorry. This is from Kelly Hickey. Naperville Park District Board, I'm respectfully asking you to reject the idea of using Knock Park as the site for Naperville's fireworks display for 2022, and instead maintain the popular Frontier Sports Complex venue where it has been for the last 2 years. I watched the YouTube recording of your last park board meeting discussing the potential move to Knock Park and learned that the move to Knock Park wouldn't be advantageous for most Naperville residents. It might even discourage attendance. The obvious issues with this venue change were stated at that meeting. Knock Park has constricted viewing areas with obstructed views and scarce parking. Frontier has sizable viewing areas and unobstructed views with ample parking. And yet the biggest argument against the Knock Park location seems to be the need for shuttle buses to transport Naperville residents from remote parking lots to the Knock viewing area. As President Todd pointed out, the fireworks viewers would undoubtedly all want to arrive and leave at approximately the same time. That's a lot of people to move in a small window of time. With the addition of a necessary shuttle ride to access viewing areas, little consideration is being given to our residents with mobility issues and other special needs. Transporting mobility aids and strollers on a shuttle might be a barrier to families who would otherwise attend the fireworks. Kids with sensory differences or development issues might still enjoy watching the show from the safety of their family car with parental supervision. This will be difficult to do when the view from the parking areas will have obstructed views and parking will be scarce. In thinking about logistics, it seems the Salute will need a great number of shuttle buses to ensure everyone has a ride waiting to return them to the remote parking at the end of the display. It's unlikely that the appropriate number of shuttles will be available for one shuttle run, and given current staffing issues at bus companies who would drive them. Short of a fleet of shuttles, the new venue will leave Naperville families waiting in the dark for a second or third run of a shuttle bus. When families have been returned to their cars, they most likely will need to wait again to unload from the remote parking lot. The Salute organizers cited that difficulty of managing 2 locations for the celebration as the impetus for the venue change. If this has been a problem for them in the past 2 years, they have handled it so well that the Frontier Sports Complex viewers were unaware. Since Park District and City of Naperville funds are used to finance the fireworks display, the primary consideration must be what is in the best interest of the people of Naperville. I appreciate the responsibility that the Salute organizers have taken on here and have tremendous respect for them, as well as the charitable organization which the Salute is supporting. But given the obstacles listed above, the fireworks display at Frontier Sports Complex makes the most sense for Naperville.
Okay. Do you have any other emails?
I have Ms. Michelle Clement.
Okay. I'd just like to say that that particular email is very consistent with a lot of other email that we've received over the past few weeks. So go ahead.
Good evening, and thank you for considering the change in the amendment. I wanted to take a moment to inform you of why the fireworks were at Frontier Sports Complex in the first place, as some people may not know on the board. Naperville Response for Veterans began planning the Salute to Veterans in 2019. And then, of course, in early 2020, we all had to take a pause and evaluate what could or could not happen. And ultimately, our event was canceled. And that event was scheduled to take place on Rotary Hill with fireworks planned at Knock Park. We decided to continue with the fireworks celebration because it was our impression that at that time, if we didn't do it, there would not be fireworks in Naperville at all. So we took on the responsibility of planning the fireworks celebration. We chose Frontier Park to allow for maximum social distancing at that time if somebody chose to get out of their vehicle to watch the show. And then if somebody chose to stay in their vehicle, there was ample parking. And it went off very well, with the exception of leaving once the show was over. Plus, during the fireworks, cars were stopped along Route 59 and along 95th Street, creating potentials for emergency if somebody had been hurt during the fireworks show. In 2021, we were very uncertain with if we were going to be able to have an event on Rotary Hill because we were in phase 4 of COVID restrictions. So until the end of May, first part of June, we still didn't know if our event was going to take place. So we planned the fireworks again at Frontier Park as a contingency. And of course, we were able to have our event and it was successful on Rotary Hill and still felt the obligation to have the fireworks take place at Frontier Park. It did require a lot of logistical planning to have events 12 miles apart from each other. And I understand that that shouldn't be the concern of the general public, but it is difficult to host events in 2 separate locations. Specifically this year when we are planning to have entertainment the same night as the fireworks. We met with the city and park district, as well as the police and park police a few weeks ago. And one of the questions that I raised is there enough resources, police, fire, emergency responders, to have the event have 2 separate events, basically. One down at the Frontier Sports Complex and then one again at Rotary Hill. And while they said, yes, it wouldn't be a problem, it is a concern as a citizen of this town that should something happen, there might not be the immediate response needed. If having the event, having fireworks at Knock Park would be easier. We would shut our event down earlier than originally planned, which would allow then the police and fire to move just across the street from us rather than taking the fire department and police department and relocating miles apart. The other thing I wanted to discuss after meeting with Brad, we talked about the option, should the board decide not to move forward with our request, we are happy to meet with the park staff and pass on that, but we cannot physically be in 2 places at one time. It's just not possible. And then the cost of the fireworks itself. I know that the park district has set aside money to contribute towards the fireworks, as has the city. The cost of the fireworks alone this year is $40,000, and that doesn't include security, cleanup, the rentals, so portalettes and those kinds of things, fencing. Plus, it doesn't include the cost of the city staff, so police and fire, any sort of traffic control by the park districts, those kind of things. So please consider that. And while we appreciate the support that we've been given, we also do have sponsorships to help us cover the cost of that. The fireworks was never about raising money. It was about an obligation that we felt to the city to celebrate Independence Day and really celebrate our active military, our veterans, and our first responders. So while the event on Rotary Hill may make money for us, and that money all goes directly to Naperville Response for Veterans, and the mission of our organization is to make critical home repairs for veterans and their families who cannot afford to do so. So the fireworks aren't a fundraiser for us. The event on Rotary Hill is. What may happen is on a night that we are expecting a large amount of people to attend our event, they're now going to have to choose to either come to our event and celebrate veterans and active military and enjoy family entertainment. They're going to have to choose between that and then the fireworks further down. We have talked to Edward Hospital, we've talked to School District 203, and we've also talked to the Naperville Cemetery Board. They are all in support of us with the location. We have not received written notice because this was uncertain still. So should you vote in our favor, we will certainly get that to you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments?
President Todd?
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to support this. Just to back up a little bit of history. So everyone knows, of course, that Rib Fest, left our community for Romeoville, and I think everyone on the board somewhat understands the reasons. But when Rib Fest left, there was definitely a void, and some people in the community love Rib Fest. Some people in the community hated Rib Fest. Like any major event, right? Some people love it, some people hate it. But I think the people that were opposed to it felt that Rib Fest really became a regional and more of we have national musical talent. It became more of a regional draw. And in fact, many Naperville residents wouldn't attend because it just became more of a regional festival. So there was a void. And the Naperville Responds nonprofit obviously came in and filled that void with more of a local, family-friendly Naperville community type celebration that would be, frankly, more for Naperville residents as opposed to a regional thing. And I think that was very well received. If you look at the website right now for the Naperville Salute, the logo has fireworks, the video presentation has fireworks, the headline has fireworks. And it seems to me it would be unfair for the park district to come in, not that it would be anybody's intent to come in this way, but it would seem a little bit heavy-handed and a little bit heavy-handed government throwing around our weight and our money. It's really not our money, it's taxpayer dollars to swoop in and somehow take the fireworks away from this event. I think a lot of the narrative around this has been around, well, what is the better location for the community and for the fireworks? I don't know. I mean, some people that live south like the fireworks south. Some people that live north like the fireworks north. Some people that have a dog don't want the fireworks anywhere near them. Some people that have a child with autism don't want the fireworks. If you ask 100 people, you're going to have a lot of different opinions. So I think I don't think it's accurate to say the overwhelming majority of the community wants the fireworks at Frontier. I attended the fireworks at Frontier. Tons of people from Bolingbrook, Romeoville, Oswego, Plainfield, the people I was sitting around were not even from Naperville, and that's part of what jammed up all the traffic because there was nothing else really going on. We were one of the only fireworks shows that were going. But I think where we as commissioners think is the best location is totally beside the point. They stepped up. They're a nonprofit. They filled a void in the community. It's their event. They're making a request. The request is reasonable. Staff and 203 and the other organizations are on board. I think it would negatively impact their event, which is not fair to them, in my opinion, to separate it and, like Michelle said, make people decide. Now no one's going to both. They're going to decide I'm going here or I'm going there. They've got entertainment lined up. Seems really government heavy-handed. Seems a little bit unfair. Not to mention the economics of it, which, instead of corporate sponsorships picking up some of the bill, we're putting it on the taxpayer to pay for fencing, which I think is $14,000 plus, and a whole bunch of other things that I'm not sure if we kind of lost track of. So I'm inclined to support this, and I realize a number of commissioners maybe came in today thinking that they were going to vote against this, but in light of these comments and Michelle's comments, I would ask people that we're maybe going to vote against this to reconsider us on this. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's.
So looking through the original contract, a couple things stood out at me as I was kind of thinking through all this. One is, and as Commissioner Janner mentioned, some of the taxpayer dollars are what is funding this fireworks show. And on page 5, it talks about how publicity will be advertised as co-sponsored by the Naperville Park District in regards to the fireworks, obviously. So while it is their event, we are the co-sponsors, therefore we have a duty to answer to our community. Additionally, again, this is in the contract, any changes that parties were hoping for were supposed to have been completed by April 1st. So we're already past the contract terms in terms of changing things at this point. I'm willing to look past that and allow for the festival to move from a 3-day to a 4-day. But as a Naperville Park District Commissioner, I still have not heard any real reason why the fireworks would be better for the community at Knock Park versus Frontier. And also, and while Commissioner Janner pointed out that, sure, you could ask 100 people and they'll all have different, sorry, thank you, how they feel about it, emotions, but we can only go by what public comment we received. And 99% of the public comment that we received was telling us that they wanted at Frontier. So I have to listen to the community. I have to listen to the public comment we received, and therefore I'm not. No one has convinced me that moving the fireworks back to Knock Park is better for the community as a whole, because that's who I represent. And I just want to say one more thing. And I know that the logistics are a lot, but I personally would be a very big proponent of decoupling the two events moving forward, because the fireworks should genuinely be for the community. I mean, and the fact that people from other communities were able to come and watch, I think that's wonderful. Why, I think an inclusive, accessible fireworks show is just fantastic. And I think that this year has really shown us that it's probably time for the city and the Park District to kind of take this over, because there may not always be a salute. And I think that we just really need to keep the community in mind.
Thank you. Any other comment?
I mean, I
Go
I
ahead.
think, am I on? Yeah. Commissioner Janner said heavy-handed from the government. The overwhelming response I've gotten in the emails, I think, went to the whole board, was the community asking us to keep it at Frontier. And, at the end of the
Can I
day,
just respond to that? Can I just respond
yeah,
to that one point?
absolutely.
If you think about the number of emails, I think it might have been 7 or 8. How many people are in Naperville? The reason we got those emails, in my opinion, is somebody sent we all know how this works, right? Someone who's taking the lead on this, they wanted the fireworks at Frontier, they live south. They sent an email out to all their people and said, hey, email the park commissioners, let them know. And does anybody know how many people are there? How many people are in Naperville? You probably know.
140.
So out of 145,000 people, we heard from 6 or 7, and we're saying overwhelming support. I mean, I could have sent an email out to all my friends and said, hey, go ahead and email the park commissioners, and we could have got 7 emails. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that we should dismiss what the residents are saying, but because we got a handful of emails and one, I can't, that doesn't translate to the overwhelming majority of the community want this. That's my opinion.
It's Commissioner Gibson. You can finish your thought.
I mean, even before I was on the board, I had heard from the community how successful many members of our community thought the fireworks were at Frontier. And I agree, no decision we make will ever please 100% of the community. But again, before I was even on the board, and now since being on the board, that's been the overwhelming feedback I've received. I think logistically, I recognize that it's difficult to plan 2 separate events. My understanding is that as Park District staff has worked with Naperville Response for Veterans quite a bit, and we're offering, to take logistics. In terms of the cost to the taxpayers, Director Wilson, are you able to comment?
So the costs to the taxpayers, the costs for the fireworks have really been split between the Park District that contributes each year, as well as the city of Naperville. And then there's also SECA funds that are awarded to Naperville Response for Veterans to support the event for the public services that are associated with the event, which also includes with the fireworks. So when we look at logistics, the Park District has been heavily involved with the salute, as well as the city of Naperville, in the planning of the fireworks each year, just as we are with working with event organizers for their event. With the fireworks in particular, logistics really come down to the establishment of the fallout area, which is the fencing that goes up, or there may be another way that we're able to work with the fire department to do that in a more cost-effective or efficient manner to do that, as well as coordinating with the surrounding areas as far as parking lots that will be used, coordinating volunteers to be able to assist with doing cleanup within those areas. management and placement of portlets, management and placement of barricades with the Public Works Department, which is currently being done, as well as coordinating with Naperville Police on traffic. So all areas in which we've been involved in, the salute has certainly assisted greatly by leading those efforts in the past. It is something that, should the board choose to have the fireworks at Frontier, that we can pick up internally as staff to be able to work with moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Do you have
For
anything
now,
else?
it seems like
Yeah, so just to
Commissioner
be,
McBroom, go ahead.
just to be clear, what I'm hearing, and what do we, was there a dollar amount that the park district, is it 8,500? I remember that number is
Yeah, the
cash.
Park District contributes $8,500 a year for the fireworks.
And so I guess what I'm hearing, these numbers bouncing around, I did call 4 different board members on Naperville Responds, and it wasn't until a couple of days ago that I kind of fully wrapped my arms around the struggle that they're having, or trying to explain their process. But it sounds like $50,000, $60,000, something in that neighborhood. So certainly having it at another venue, I would think would reduce revenue to the organization. I guess the park district and the city would need to be prepared to absorb some kind of extra cost. Is that fair to say that that's likely a scenario?
We've had discussions with city staff, and they have additional funds that would be available.
Okay, so this decision would push resources on the taxpayer. I think that's a fair statement. So, I mean, beyond that, I can't support that. We've got a great organization here that's willing to, the change is not to go to knock. To me, the change, well, in big picture, the change was to go to Frontier because of COVID, right? So for 30, right? Well,
When we negotiated the contract, it was because of the renovations that took place at Knock. Knock North is not what it used to be under Ribfest. There's areas that will be inaccessible to the public. We knew that when we did a 3-year contract, that the garden plots aren't available for the launch. The fallout areas are not the same. It's a very different Knock Park North. So COVID played a part, but in negotiating the contract, the park district was very aware of what was going to happen at Knock Park North. You cannot have anything land on that artificial turf, or it's ruined, and then it will be out of service for the next season.
okay.
So it was a complex negotiation.
Fair enough.
It wasn't just one thing.
But for 30 years, the fireworks were downtown. I understand what you're saying. So logistics may have changed around that. I understand Naperville Response for Veterans has a shuttle service. So I can't really say anything that Commissioner Janner didn't say. I just think it would be a shame to kind of move in and push these resources on the taxpayer when we have an organization that's willing to do it. And I feel bad that we put them in this position when our staff has already said, yes, it's feasible. And then, all these different entities that had to be involved and signed off said, yes, we're okay with it. I just thought it would be a natural thing. Well, everyone's okay with it. Certainly there's people on the south side of town, whatever, 8 or 9 emails that I saw that would like it down there. And, you're not going to make everyone happy, but, so I'm supporting the amendment, and I hope you guys would consider all aspects here. So.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Just real quick. So kind of been hearing everything tonight and thinking about it. It seems like if the salute is not doing the fireworks, if we take it on, we put our money at the city, SECA, all of that, and the fireworks come back as far as that being a community event, the taxpayer burden is serving the taxpayers. So it's not like we're just taking the money and running with it. We're actually doing a service for the community, just like we do anytime we put on any event that we don't charge for, because that's what your tax dollars are paying. And I really appreciate that the salute, when they came in, when they did, wanted to do the fireworks and have it part of that as well, and kind of bring it back to the community, which is fantastic. And it's worked well in the last couple of years. And part of why it's worked, though, is the location that it's in. And that's a location that a lot of people really like. There's a lot of space. You can watch in or out of your car. So it still gives a lot of options to people for all their different reasons for how they want to view the fireworks. So it seems it's a bit more accessible there than a smaller area at Knock Park that's going to be a little more crowded. Yes, closer to their event, but in all other forms, maybe harder to get to and from. You still have the hospital there. All of those things are still kind of impacted. Like he was saying about, Knock Park is different now than it was when it started. And so it seems to me that kind of a division of labor here is kind of more of a collaboration if we did not have it necessarily be their event. Plus, then that's money they already said they're not making money off of the fireworks. So if they're not having to pay for it, they're not out of that money either. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it kind of on both sides of it. I think this actually could still be a very successful event for everybody, splitting those duties.
Thank you.
Also, the taxpayer burden, are we sure that it would be more of a taxpayer burden at Frontier? The money's going to be spent for SECA funds, for fencing and for police and fire. We wouldn't be paying for shuttle buses
Right.
for back and forth. I don't know if it's a given that it would be a larger taxpayer burden to have it at Frontier as opposed to not.
Wouldn't they have more attendees the day of the fireworks? Wouldn't that be a big day?
Who have
wouldn't-
attendees? The Naperville
if it was
Response for
downtown at-
Veterans?
Yeah, at Knox.
Okay,
yeah.
but that's a separate issue than the taxpayer burden.
Isn't that
right?
revenue that offsets the cost of the?
No.
I think the money for the SECA funds and the pyrotechnics is allocated by the city, and that's separate from the income from the event, is my understanding. Correct.
Sponsor dollars be a part of it. Is that right, Michelle? So if the sponsors want to sponsor fireworks, right? They want their name associated with that. So some of those dollars would come from sponsorships, right?
Correct. And should we not be awarded the amendment as requested, we would reposition the sponsor we already have for fireworks to a different position at our festival. However that may work. It would take some nuancing because he's been the fireworks sponsor for the last 2 years. So it would definitely take some tough conversation with him.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, let's take roll call
On the amendment.
on the amendment. Yeah,
Is
we
it-
have
okay.
the
May I
motion.
ask a
We made the motion,
question?
Anderson.
Sorry, sure. Or-
I just want to be certain that, or maybe request that the amendment as it's written may be also amended to make sure that our dates can still remain as July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
4 days.
4 days.
First, we have to vote on the motion that has been made.
Thank you.
The existing motion.
The
on
existing
agenda.
motion, it's been seconded. Now we'll do a roll call on that one.
Unless somebody wants to
Can I
move to
vote to
amend
move
the
to amend the
original
motion?
motion.
Before we vote?
Do we,
Somebody can move to
Nope.
amend the original
okay,
motion.
then go ahead.
I move to amend the.
Go ahead.
Okay, I move to approve an amended amendment number 1 to the agreement for the planning and operation of Naperville Response for Veterans and the Naperville Salute by replacing term number 4 of the amendment with the fireworks to celebrate the 4th of July will occur at Frontier Sports Complex. And Naperville Response for Veterans will maintain the contract with the pyrotechnics company for the fireworks display and will transition the coordination of logistics for the fireworks to the Park District.
So that motion to amend
We need a
the,
second.
needs a second, right?
Need a second?
Point of clarification though on that. So would the contract remain with Naperville Responds with between the contract between the pyrotechnics company? Why would the contract be with Naperville Responds if we are taking over the fireworks? It seems to be if we're taking it over, the contract would be with the Park District. Or am I looking at this the wrong way?
Well, it's our understanding Naperville Response for Veterans currently has a contract.
We have not yet signed the contract with the fireworks vendor because this was so up in the air about location. We were planning to either do that after this meeting or pass that on to the Park District.
Okay. So, yeah, the thing is though, it's May, July's around the corner. So they're holding a spot for you though, right?
They are.
So if you want us to take the contract, it'd be to work, then a further amendment here would be, since I don't have a second yet, so I can work with Commissioner Gibson on this, would
All
be
right.
to, for us to take over the contract with the cooperation of
the salute.
Naperville
Naperville responds, so that we don't lose the date.
Okay, the reservation. Can you make? Brad, you okay with that?
No. So to be clear, the amendment's going to be I will just encapsulate it. The amendment as originally presented stays the same except for term 4, in which the fireworks will remain at Frontier. The Park District will take the contract with the assistance of Naperville Responds with the pyrotechnics company, and we will also take over the logistics.
Was there something with the dates that needed to be addressed? What
That's
needs?
already in the.
No, the rest of the amendment as this being presented tonight, including the 4th date and everything, that stays the same. We're only amending term 4 on the pyrotechnics.
Thank you.
So,
So moved.
okay, we have the motion. I need a second.
Second.
All right,
All
so
right.
this gets a roll, unless there's discussion on this amendment.
Any further discussion? No, let's do a roll call now.
Vice President Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffing,
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier,
Yes.
Commissioner Janner,
No.
Commissioner McBroom,
No.
President Todd.
Yes.
All right, so now the amended amendment is before you, which has 1, 2, 3, all the terms except now the amended 4 as originally presented. So they get the 4th date. The only thing now is that it said Frontier, we're going to hold the contract with their cooperation to keep the date and take over logistics down at Frontier.
Okay.
That's now what's before you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we,
Do I
we have to,
move?
is there another motion for that one?
Well,
I
now the
thought we
question
just
becomes,
did.
is there any more discussion on the amended motion?
So in light of the fact that that amendment just passed, this amendment is granting them the 4 days plus,
Mhm.
uh,
It grants them everything they wanted except the change of location.
Okay.
And it relieves them of the contract with the pyrotechnics company and the
Transfers that to
logistics
us.
down at Frontier.
all right, making sure that even though I didn't support the first amendment, there'd be no reason for me to not support this amendment in light of the fact that the first amendment. did
Yeah,
not pass.
if you want to give them the 4th day.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
So is there, I'm confused now. Is there another motion we have to make? I thought we just made the motion for the amendment.
You had discussion on the original motion. Then you had some discussion, the possibility for discussion on making the amendment. The amendment's now passed. So now there's an opportunity for, since the motion that's now going to be voted on is different in its entirety,
Mhm.
discussion opportunity one more time for any member of the board, like Commissioner McBroom, to ask a question
Okay.
is appropriate. Now we're back to a yes vote is the amended motion. It's as presented except for the changes to 4.
I see. Okay.
Do I need, can I just say so moved or move?
It's pending. We've already discussed it. It's time
So
for
just
roll call.
Do we have a second, right?
Give a
Yeah.
second.
Second.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Vice President Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffing,
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier,
Yes.
Commissioner Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
President Todd.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Be in touch. All right. And our final item is the semi-annual review of the executive session minutes. No one had any issues with that, so make the motion.
Okay. As determined by unanimous board consensus, no need exists to adjourn to executive session for discussion and per staff recommendation. Move that the written and approved May 14th, May 28th, June 11th, June 18th, and November 12th, 2020 executive session meeting minutes be released.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Vice President Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffing.
Yep. Yes.
Commissioner Ansier,
Yes.
Commissioner Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
President Todd.
Yes. Okay, the next regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners will be May 26th at 6:30 here at Fort Hill Activity Center. And we do have executive session.
Move to adjourn to executive session to discuss land acquisition per section 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier,
Yes.
Commissioner Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd, or President Todd?
Yes.
We're going to invite Director Stanish and Director Schutz to join us as well.
Okay. Thank you all.